This is an installation I'm working on. It's a sunlight rack, probably a touring model. They customarily have this tail whip sticking back. And it says pack rat clip-on system up here. I don't know if you can see that or not. So, what I've decided to do is, because this center hole was not there, I went ahead and drilled this center hole. All these other holes were there simply to keep things lined up. And as you'll see, it better fits what we're going to clamp on here. This center hole will be your main hole for the 1/4-20 screw coming out of here, the bolt. So let's see what it looks like sandwiching this stuff all together. Here's what we've got. We've got first piece that'll go on will be this adapter, which I needed to get this rack mount further aft. So this is a more or less a spacer at this point. But when it's bolted on here, the canopy will force it up into the bottom of the rack. So that'll be the first piece we'll put on. And against that will be this adapter plate. And a little key tied in that will enable the V-block to go on and the T-nut to be fastened. So there's kind of a lineup of components in order to get the canopy to mount. This will be the entire canopy will be attached to this V-block. So it's critically important that this gets secured very well. So I'll show you what this looks like being assembled. For the do-it-yourselfers out there, this 1/4-20, this tap bolt has threads all the way up to underneath the head. I'm using a fender washer to get as much surface pinch as I possibly can back behind this light mount plate. So we're going to put this happens to be a 4-inch long tap bolt. That'll go in first. And in order to make sure that hole was put in the right place, I actually drilled a hole in this block first. Once I knew where these two holes were going to be for these 5mm screws that will go through these outside holes, these holes were put in, and then this block was drilled to where this is exactly in the middle, and then this was mounted, and through this block then I drilled the hole in this light bracket. So we're going to put this piece on next. And against that, the next component will be we'll put this plate on. In order to hold everything for us, put our little key on, and that'll actually serve as a washer. So we're going to sandwich that together. That hex nut that I'm installing now is a nylock nut. That's why I can't just put it on finger tight. I like nylocks simply because we're in an area, we're in an installation where vibration will be present, and the nylock fastener will help hold things in a secure position. And as I get real close, I'm going to make doubly sure these screws still go back in here. I'm just going to snug this up, and I'm going to leave everything attached. And on the back side, these 5mm flathead screws, socket screws, I'm going to put a fairly substantial washer. Substantial meaning it's actually a fender washer. Reminds me of the days of working on aircraft engines where tiny hands are not something I have, but would be terribly valuable. Okay, I'm going to snug these up. Right size wrench here. I try to stock all this hardware. The client who brought the bike in, actually the trike, was brought in Sunday, and it's Tuesday. I actually had the front adapter. It's a Greenspeed Trike. I had the front adapter to make as well, and it was just painted this morning. So what takes long is not the fabrication of the components, it's deciding what to do. All these racks are different. If folks would kind of stick to, I like a rack time rack made in Germany, and they're substantial, they're inexpensive, well built, and fairly simple to work with. I'm back here in the back looking at the lineup, and although there's no adjustment on this block because it's tight up against the bottom of the rack, and there's very little adjustment here, it looks perfectly aligned, and all this is going to be pretty square. So that once we put our V-block on, that's really going to determine what needs to happen back there. But I'm going to go ahead and secure all this. Just for a first brush, it looks okay. As you can see, the client has a Bionics power system on the trike. When I got the trike, this light was mounted to a placard back here. I had, of course, to remove all that. So the customer will get to remount some of his gear, because this is actually the critical build at the moment, is getting this secure. With nylock nuts on everything thus far. Big washers. The tendency for the rack to bend will be bending it this way. If this becomes an issue, wanting to bend backwards, I think even in a wind there will be enough flex in the canopy that it shouldn't bend this. But if this becomes an issue that it wants to bend backwards, we can come back in here and put some additional clamping in there. I think it's going to be good though, so we're going to go with it as it is. And the V-block then simply goes on, and the only thing it attaches is the entire canopy at the back. is this nylock T-nut, and once that's put on there, your canopy is installed. It's just a question then of getting on your trike and connecting the front connection. I had to get this far enough to the rear in order to get the front connection on. On the Greenspeed Trike, there's this tab, this fin-looking tab. And with the customer wanting a quick disconnect, it's you can see it presents a little bit of a design challenge. What I'm going to do is I made this block here that will pin and sandwich onto the tab, and this will allow rotational flex so that the canopy comes off square to that quick disconnect. And then on each side I'm going to have some accessory bars, let's call them, very short for mounting lights or whatever, and that will all pinch onto this, and the quick disconnect will then mount to the top of this. Here's how that quick disconnect is going to mount to the top of the block. There's a screw hole for this fastener to go into up in that block. I think you can probably begin to see what's about to happen here. Customer just called me. He's wanting to pick his trike up so he can go ride on the Cove tomorrow, so I'm going to try to get all of the accessory adapters, I say accessory adapters, the canopy adapters, mounted to the trike, so next time he comes by with his trike, I'll have the canopy ready to go on, and we can tune everything. So that's how it goes, and then the canopy connects here, and with a quick disconnect, what will happen with that tab up in the middle here, this will go through and pin, and then the accessory rods or little bars, short bars, will screw into that and pinch these ears onto the fin on the front of the Greenspeed, and this will rotate so that the canopy will come off in a real nice fashion. So that's what it looks like so far. Well, Terry over here brought his trike down to me Saturday, and I told him he better not leave this thing laying around here. It'll have a top on it.
That's right.
Well, let's see if we can get out of here. There's a maze of discarded projects. Watch the droppings there. Well, I'm glad you didn't go to the cove this morning. I'm telling you right now, it would have been a mess. It doesn't dry out after rain, so the roads are gummy. I'm just going to pan around here and show people what you've got. Custom did a little bracket up here for Terry's flag mount. Actually, it's a lighted pole. Let's see what we got going on down there. We didn't cut anything off of Terry's rods. Got a real fancy disconnect with a couple of accessory bars sticking out the side that are actually round nuts to hold everything still. Downhill test. See how much deflection we might get in the top. Did you want to come down any? Yeah, I don't think. I think it's gonna. I think it's gonna be good for about 25 miles an hour. The problem is that's not just ground speed. That's air speed.
Right. I understand that.
Looking good, Terry.